I am Raymond Ita, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. INEC begins online media accreditation for 2023 general elections. Military begins payment of ex-servicemen allowance. Plus, thousands gather as Pope Benedict's funeral begins. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Welcome once again and many thanks for staying with us. First in the news this afternoon is a report that the federal government has released 13.89 billion naira for the payment of pensions of its workers who retired in 2022. The National Pension Commission (NPC) disclosed this in an advertorial release today. The National Pension Commission has expressed pleasure in the service contributions of all its stakeholders, particularly retirees of Treasury-funded ministries, departments and agencies who retired in the year 2022. Director General, National Pension Commission, Aisha Dahir Umar, disclosed this in her report on the pension industry for 2021, noting that the federal government paid a total of 980.18 billion naira to retirees of Treasury-funded ministries, departments and agencies from the inception of the contributory pension scheme in 2004 to December 2021. Meanwhile, the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Defense, Babajimi Benson, has said the 2.74 trillion naira budgeted for security in the 2023 trillion naira will be insignificant when converted to the United States dollar currency. Benson, who represents the Ikorodu Federal Constituency in the Lagos State, further said that the capital component of the security budget slated for the armed forces should be pulled out of the current envelope budget system. To the judiciary now, where Justice Mariam Hassan of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Garki, has quashed the allegations of fraud. The court also barred the Department of State's Security, DSS, the police, and the Code of Conduct Bureau from investigating him over his alleged valid assets declaration. In an originating summons filed by Somadinma Uzomaka against the Attorney General of the Federation and Yakubu, the claimant sought, among other things, an order of mandatory injunction directing and compelling the INEC chairman to step down pending investigation and consideration of the various allegations against him by the various law enforcement agencies. The plaintiff also sought an order of the court stopping Yakubu from holding or resuming exhibit to show the sources of money for the purchase of the properties, which the plaintiff alleged were illegally acquired, and insisted that his assets declaration was validly done. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has commenced online accreditation for journalists and media organizations wishing to cover the 2023 general elections. Journalists to cover the election are to apply via https://inap.inec.inng.org. Well, it's stated that the portal would be accessible from today to Sunday, February 5, 2023. In another, the 4 suspects with 298 bags of Indian hemp. The NDLEA State Commander Ibrahim Raji made this known at a news conference in Kaduna, stating that the suspects were arrested on the evening of January 3rd at the Tashu Mahuta community on Refinery Road in Chikun local government area of the state. He said that the 4 suspects were 2 females and 2 males. According to him, the bags of Indian hemp weigh over 3,576 kilograms. He further said the operatives are still investigating the matter to unravel other suspects for arrest and prosecution. He further said the command has expanded its operational structure in the state to curtail the influx and outflow of drugs. Away from that, the Military Pensions Board said it has commenced the payment of old security department allowance to eligible military retirees or next of kin of deceased military personnel. A security department allowance is the money paid to retired military personnel to discourage them from using the skills they acquired while in service against the government. Over 90,000 military retirees who retired before 2017 were originally not among those to benefit from the allowance. According to reports, the reason for their exclusion, according to the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi retired, was that personnel who retired before the law was signed were not entitled to the allowance. On electoral matters now, residents of Delta State have lamented the poor distribution of permanent voter cards. Ex Omogbulu, a resident who was present at the INEC office in Warri South local government area, noted that INEC workers had not resumed to distribute the PVCs. He said he had been at the INEC office a number of times but had not been attended to. Omogbulu opined that INEC is not adequately distributing or issuing the PVCs well to the satisfaction of Nigerians, stressing that the time for the deadline is fast approaching. In politics now, the aggrieved 5 governors of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, also known as G5, have arrived at the Inde. Other members of the G5, led by Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, are Abia State Governor Okezi Ikpeazu, Benue State Sambola Tom, and Enugu State Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. According to reports, the G5 arrived at the venue of the campaign flag-off at exactly 1 p.m. Meanwhile, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has approved the appointment of Dr. Ajibola Sikiru Adetona as the rector of Okeogun Polytechnic in Saki. The approval of the appointment was conveyed in a letter signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Olubamiwo Adeosun, and made available to newsmen. The release stated that the tenure shall be 5 years in accordance with the terms and conditions of the office and status as spelled out in the relevant laws, with absolute loyalty, dedication and professionalism towards ensuring the enhancement of the institution's current status. Back here, the Kwabam State Governor, Udom Emmanuel, has expressed satisfaction at the pace of work and quality of facilities put in place for the full takeoff of the Dakada Skills Development Center at Ikododaidem in Ibiano local government area of the state. The governor, who stated this when he inspected the facilities at the center located at the site of the former Technical College, Ikododaidem. Governor Emmanuel said the center will provide skilled manpower to the sectors of the economy, as well as agricultural produce, and ensuring food security in the country. The governor also said the state government is open to partnerships with the federal government and the private sector to ensure full maximization of the facility. In the meantime, the Kwabam State Governor and the state leader of the People's Democratic Party, Governor Udom Emmanuel, has called on the party executive committee members and supporters to remain resolute in their support towards the success of the party at all levels in the forthcoming elections. Governor Emmanuel made the call during the New Year visit to the state chapter of the party at the party secretariat complex at Atana Fort, Uyo. the governor who appreciated members of the party for during the general elections. The state party leader further pledged to support the party beyond his administration and emphasized on the need to be dedicated towards the return of the PDP to the center of government in order to attract development to the state. With more news from the states, Akwa Ibom State Governor Mr. Demi Manuel and Chairman Akwa Ibom Elders Forum Victor Ta has urged governorship candidates for the 2023 race to carry each other along after the electioneering period, stressing that each of the candidates has something to contribute in the process of rebuilding the state. Speaking to newsmen after the interactive session organized by the Akwa Ibom Elders Forum held today at the Ibom E-Library Hall with governorship candidates from the respective party, the other statesman noted that the aim of the gathering was for the candidates and stakeholders to rub minds.
You listen to those people. There was nothing from every single one of them. Don't throw anybody away because they all had fantastic ideas.
Earlier in the event, the former governor, in reaction to the absence of some of the gubernatorial candidates who failed to show up at the event, expressed hope that they will avail themselves of the opportunity to speak with the Akwa Ibomite.
Or that they have no regard for the council. And I want to hope that if opportunity presents itself again for such an invitation, that every member will come. Because these have been very useful. And to build up the system. So my appeal to you, please, when one of you wins, don't tell anybody else. Go there. You've listened. You've heard that they have ideas and opinions that will lead this state to the sky. Please work with one another.
To Africa now, Egyptian authorities have confirmed the tumbling of the pound in its largest single-day slide since the cash-strapped government agreed to a $3 billion International Monetary Fund deal in mid-December. The pound fell from 24.7 for $1 to just over 26.3 against the dollar. But this happened 3 weeks after Egypt and the IMF formally ratified a support package approved in exchange for a number of economic reforms implemented by the country's central bank. The package allows for a further $14 billion in possible financing for Egypt by the Egyptian economy. The country still remains the world's largest wheat importer, with most of its imports traditionally coming from Eastern Europe. On the foreign scene, thousands of mourners have gathered in St. Francis is now on the way. It has been unprecedented to note that in modern times for a living pope to bury his predecessor. European royals and thousands of clerics are being set to be observing the event. Benedict will be buried in a crypt beneath the St. Peter's Basilica that holds the tombs of more than 90 of his predecessors. He died on Saturday at the age of 95 after many years of illness. In 2013, he became the first pope, the Mass, with true C readings in German, Italian, Arabic, Portuguese, and French. Still to come in the news. Chelsea finally seals Badiashile deal for £38 million. Please stay with us.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues. Education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Many thanks for staying with us. On our business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has said it will bring up a regulatory policy framework for the implementation of cryptocurrencies in the country. The CBN, which disclosed this in a report on Nigeria payment system, worked with Security Exchange Commission to jointly develop a regulatory framework in the event of adoption of an ICO-based investment solution. Recall that the banking regulator had earlier banned crypto-related transactions in the banking system. Meanwhile, economists have faulted the Apex Bank's consideration for the stablecoin as ill-timed, considering the failure of the e-naira. 19 shock wave. The country's local stock exchange relayed recently that the national carrier shares have been suspended for another year as a result of the airline's inability to break even in making profit. The extension of suspension seeks to enable the company in completing its operational and corporate restructuring process. The Nairobi Securities Exchange disclosed this via an official statement, saying the airline has become such a thorn on the side of its stakeholders. Investors are now willing to sell their shares in the company. In health now, the Nigeria Center for Disease and COVID-19 cases in China, the United States and the United Kingdom have not yet been detected in the country. The NCDC disclosed this on Wednesday in an update on COVID-19 genomic surveillance signed by its Director General, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa. The update showed that the Omicron sublineage responsible for the rise in cases in the US and UK is XBB.1.5, while BF.7 is responsible for the increased cases in China. According to him, the country targeted travel restrictions, including requests for PCR negative tests from incoming travelers, had little or no effect on preventing global incubation period. Still in health, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has said it has procured 43 TruScan scanning equipment to check the quality and quantity of drugs produced and imported into the country. NAFDAC also said it would reach World Health Organization's maturity level 4 and World Listed Authority status by the first quarter of 2024 as its new initiative to enable global trade of Nigerian-made pharmaceuticals through collaborative registration with other regulatory agencies, among others. Reports say a TruScan is a handheld device used for on-the-spot detection of counterfeit medicines, adding that it allows regulators and law enforcement agents to conduct field-based screening of pharmaceutical samples to quickly and accurately identify counterfeits. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, disclosed this at a press conference. £1 million with Monaco for the player Benoit Badiashile. Badiashile underwent medicals at Chelsea a few days ago ahead of his official unveiling as a Blues player. This was disclosed by transfer guru Fabrizio Romano in a tweet via his Twitter handle. But Chelsea have been looking to sign a left-footed centre-back since the end of last season, while opening talks over a move for Badiashile. Chelsea manager Graham Potter is keen to strengthen his backline as the Stamford Bridge club push for a top 4 place this season. Still in sport, March Day 5 of the Nigeria Women's Football League recorded 2 away wins, 3 home wins and a draw. Edo Queens Football Club of Benin City started the new year with an away win, the team defeating the Angels at the Gospel Akpabio training pitch in Uyo. The Benin City ladies moved 5 points clear at the top of Group B after a away victory in Uyo. With the result, the Angels are 7th on the log with 3 points from 5 games after suffering consecutive home defeats. Thriller movie Shanty Town, created by the duo of Xavier Igoroje and Chichi Nwora. The upcoming project is a 6-part series. The show follows the story of 3 Lagos State hustlers played by Iniedo Nse-Ikpe Etem and Nancy Isime, who united to wage war against the biggest and most ruthless crime ring in the state. Also featured are fan favorites such as Zubi Michael, Nancy Isime, Omowodi Dada, Messier K, among others. Shantytown will debut globally on the Netflix platform on January 20th, 2023. And that's all we have for you at this time, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You can also watch us on Startimes at channel 421. You've been watching the news at 4. I'm Raymond Eita. Enjoy the rest of the day's broadcast. Bye for now.